Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Triple Threat Comics YouTube channel. I'm your host, Ian Miller. Tonight, I am welcoming a new friend right here. Please welcome George Medina. George, welcome to the show.
Hey Ian, thank you for having me, man. This is wonderful. I'm glad to be here, man. Thank you for having me.
I'm glad you're here too because I've been hearing great things about your work. I've been hearing a lot about you. I'm glad that we actually got a
Yeah,
chance to actually chat up on Facebook and become friends. Now, I'm very glad to have you in my new as in my friendship now. That's fantastic.
appreciate that, man. That's awesome.
Okay, so we got a couple of projects
Yeah,
that you have coming up. Obviously, let's talk about them.
sure, man. Uh, Ask away. What do you got?
Okay, so your first comic is Wonder Duck. Now, I love the title. First of all, it's fantastic. Why don't you tell us about it? How did you come up with it?
Sure, man. Yeah, The Adventures of Wonder Duck was something that, and we talked about this before we came on. It was an homage to like the '90s, right? Like I grew
Yeah,
up watching the Disney Afternoon and DuckTales, Darkwing Duck, Tailspin, all those shows, the Gummy Bears, and all those shows, right? So I remember watching DuckTales. That was one of my favorites, and
yeah.
Gizmo Duck was my favorite
Oh,
character of them all. I was like, that's such a cool looking superhero duck. So I was like, I want my own superhero duck. So I created Wonder Duck. And at the time I was young. I created the story or whatever. And when it went time, as I got older, when it got time to like copyright it and do all that stuff, I couldn't just do Wonder Duck. I had to use the adventures of Wonder Duck because I think back in like maybe the 40s something, there was like a Wonder Duck. So I
yeah.
couldn't copyright that. So I went ahead and I started the Adventures of Wonder Duck, and that's kind of like where kind of like the whole thing shifted because it became a story. Somebody said it was like Star Wars with ducks, kind of like in a sense. It takes place in outer space. It's like a race of ducks that don't exist. It's anthropomorphic, but it's not. It doesn't take place on Earth. It's
Yeah.
their own world, their own universe, and it's this hapless duck who just lost his job. He doesn't know what he's going to do next. He's an out of work actor, and one day he's sitting by a pier, and out of nowhere, battle suit from space hits him in the back of the head and transforms him into Wonder Duck. And now he's got to save his world from evildoers everywhere. And it's as simple as that. That's how it started, and I can put him in any adventure I want. And that was the fun of Wonder Duck.
It's fantastic, because again, like we said before, the was the show started. I also watched those cartoons,
Yeah,
DuckTales,
yeah, yeah,
Darkwing
yeah.
Duck. When I was reading the first issue, which is phenomenal, by the way,
Thank you.
I was so much reminded of those cartoons because I was like, this would definitely fit in that universe. This would be a great animated series. That's the
Yeah,
first.
thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, but it's also fascinating because as I was reading it, I was also reminded of. I'm not sure if you remember the show, The Greatest American Hero.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. That was a great show. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So I was not mistaken because I'm thinking this may be an influence, but that's fine.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I grew up watching a lot of that stuff, and I enjoyed when I was writing the story. I wrote it with that in mind. What would a 22, minute episode of a cartoon feel like? And
Yeah.
that's the way I wrote each story. So the Adventures of Wonder Duck, the first chapter, and we talked about this a little bit too. When you're an indie creator, you have to think, well, you don't have to, but I think short term, right? So like I'm thinking not ongoing. I'm not going to go crazy, go ongoing because it's very expensive to create these books,
Yeah.
especially when because I'm not the artist on the book. I hire an artist to do this, and I want to give him a big shout in a few minutes. But when I thought about putting the book together, I said, let me do an arc. And for those who don't know what an arc is, obviously it's like a 6 to 8 issue run, or maybe a 4 issue run or whatever. So I decided to do an 8 issue run. I was like, let me do an 8 issue run. So this particular adventure it takes place throughout 8 issues, which will be released that way in stores. It's going to be 8 issues. And so So when I got with my artist, and that when I first hired the artist, they were it was a studio. It was Nine Life Studios. They were out in the Philippines, and
Wow.
since then the team has kind of disbanded. But some of those artists are still around. So one of them was Joseph Olesko, and Joseph did a lot of the work on Wonder Duck. And years later, when I wanted to finish that arc, I contacted him. I said, "Hey, man, would you be interested in like, doing a couple of issues of Wonder Duck for me just to finish?" He's like, "Dude, of course." And so we linked up again, and he came on and finished the 8-issue arc. Another one of those artists that also worked on the book, his name is Phibbs, fabulous artist, also from the Philippines. But yeah, I mean that's the way I thought of it. I thought of it as a cartoon. It's funny you say that because that's the way I thought of writing it, the way a cartoon felt like when I was growing up, those 22 minutes of just us watching these things and being enthralled, like, oh my God, that's so cool, you know?
Yeah. Well, it perfectly fits, especially the way the comic looks and feels. Yeah, you would definitely imagine this as a Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it makes
Right.
sense. And I'm very glad, that those influenced you to this because we don't see this much of, this type of content in a while.
Right, right. Well, I think a lot of my writing, you'll see it, and not to say that I don't write this, but I like to write more for like the younger audience. And part of that is because I'm a kid at heart, number one, but also because I feel like it's something that we need to get kids involved in more, right? Because
Yeah.
eventually we're going to age out, and who's going to read the comics? Like, so I'm like, let's try to get kids to read comics again. I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoy the more mature stuff, right? The cool, more mature stuff. That's awesome. But I
Yeah.
also think that we need to think about the younger audience and how we can get them to start reading some of our stuff so that as they get older, they can graduate to read the stuff that we also can write, which is the more adult stuff. And when I say adult, I don't mean not safe for work. I'm talking about just themes. Funny enough, the amount of words on a page, could be adult. You know what I mean? Like if a kid is
Yeah.
reading something that's like 30 words, they're like, what the hell? First of all, probably shouldn't put that many words in the comic, but they just kind of are turned off if they can't read the book to even try to read it. So yeah, I like to write this kind of stuff for that reason, just so we can get kids involved and kids more into. I mean, because manga's kicking our butts, man. Manga's
I
kicking comic
know.
book
I know.
butts right
Oh my
now.
God.
Yeah, yeah,
I've been looking at the recent sales for the manga. I was like, oh my God, we're, we're,
yes,
we're, we got to figure something out. We got to change it up a bit.
right,
But
right.
I like this because this also entices kids to also read. That's another thing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. I learned a lot of my vocabulary through comics, through reading Thor and Iron Man and those kind of things. Like those were the things that I was reading growing up, and I was like, this is cool. I was like, oh my God, look at these worlds. You know,
Dude, yeah, you read, yeah. This is my language because my godfather used to give me comics to help me read as well. So this is my
right?
language.
Yeah, dude, that's what it was, man. That's what it. And then you get lost in that world, right? Like I was like, oh my God, you just start reading these books and you'd be like lost in those worlds. It was amazing. It was amazing. So I want to create that for like for kids as well, like and I think obviously through like for example like the Adventures of Wonder Egg is a superhero book in a sense, but it's not like your typical Marvel and DC superhero book. It's more
Yeah.
cartoony. It's more for younger kids also. I would say 10 and up, I would say.
Now, see, that's appropriate because again, when you do a book like that, like yours, especially for targeted for a younger audience, it's okay to be a little zany, a little silly,
Yeah.
with these characters because again, this is entertainment. This is they're
Mhm.
entertained while they're also figure out what's going to happen on the next page. What's going to happen?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's funny because like when I'm at conventions and stuff like that, you know, price matters to parents when they're buying these books because they don't want to
yeah,
spend money on a book that their kid is gonna throw out. So like I got to think about the price, and I got to think about we talked about this also. Like indie comics today aren't what they used to be as far as the quality of the books that we're seeing. We're seeing
yeah.
high top quality books, man, from the art to, like you said, to the story, to the production value of the book, all of it. So you want to give something to like a parent who's going to say, all right, you know what, my kid's going to read this and he's going to enjoy this, and it looks like something that he would enjoy or she would enjoy.
Yeah, yeah, and also just the characters as well, because they have
Mm,
to, really identify with the characters. And again, I'm seeing this more in indie comics because
right.
you know it's just fantastic. Richness of the characters, the writing, and yeah, people can relate to that. And I really believe that Wonder Duck has those qualities.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it. That's very kind of you, man. Thank you.
Hey, they're just speaking the truth here. Just speaking the truth. Okay, so you got an 8 issue arc,
Yeah.
and that's about it. You're not gonna do another arc after this.
So I have stories, and I'm sure you can attest. I have stories for days. Like I can
Yeah,
I can tell more stories.
yeah,
And so what I'm doing now, because and it's not just Wonder Dog. Obviously, we're going to talk a little bit about the Shameless Plug, but I
yeah.
have other stories that I'm like, oh man, how do I, you know, so many stories, not enough time, not enough money, kind of thing. But I do have I do have two more like arcs in my mind as to
Mhm.
like what will happen with Wonder Duck, because part of the way I told the story of Wonder Duck is it's being told through a grandfather to his grandson, the
Yeah,
adventures of this Wonder Duck. So at the end of the eighth issue, I dive into like, oh, who these people, not dive into who they are, but that's there. And it's like, okay, where do we go from here? Is this it, Grandpa? Like, do we have anything else? And so, sure enough, you know what I mean? There are more stories to tell. It's just a matter of like, you know, I've written about, I don't know, I've written about another maybe 8 issues of another arc that I'm working on. So yeah, I'm sure that there'll be more Wonder Duck.
this is another thing I also like. The framing. You know, because to a kid, when you're listening to your grandfather or your dad telling you stories, it's exciting because again, your imagination from hearing from the words, it just
Right.
clicks. So
Yeah.
that's actually quite genius right there.
Thank you. Yeah, 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 yeah. I had fun with that kind of like scenario, and you'll like at the end of the eighth issue, you'll see more about that. But yeah, that's the way I kind of frame. So that it leads to being able to tell more stories because these are adventures. So who's telling these adventures? You know what I mean? So that's part of the
Exactly.
whole. That's part of the whole magic of the story.
Well, that's fantastic. Um, so yeah. Okay, so let's talk about shameless plug here. How did that come about?
The shameless plug. I do a lot of driving for work, and I have a 9 to 5. This is what I do for a
Yeah,
living. So I was driving along, and you know that the top portion of your iPhone charger or your Samsung charger, whatever, the way they look.
yeah,
So I was like, oh, this is like it's a plug. I was like, this is cool. You know what? This would be kind of cool if this was like the head of a character. Right? I was like, that'd be kind of cool. And then I was like, but what would I call it? Like, what would I call it? I was like, it's a plug. And like I told you, we have a show. I do a show with my buddy called Catch the Craze. And at the end of the show, we had a segment called The Shameless Plug, where we would just plug somebody's book or plug somebody's, character
yeah,
or whatever that they were doing. I'm like, holy cow, The Shameless Plug. Like, that would be a cool name for this. Like, it's The Shameless Plug. Okay, what's the story? Now it's like, okay, what is the story? And
yeah,
so, okay, so my backstory and the book, The Shameless Plug, is semi-autobiographical. It's not exactly my life story, but it dives into it a little bit. So when I was a kid, I came to the United States from Ecuador when I was 7 years old.
yeah,
And I remember coming here and like not really fitting in and being different, right? Because I didn't speak the language, and those kind of things. So I was like, okay, this could be a stock, a plug. What does a plug do? It fits into a socket, right? So then I was like, okay, what if this is a story about the shameless plug? Sometimes, to fit in, you have to be yourself. Like there's a message. I was like, okay, cool. And it all started coming together in my head. And as I was thinking more and more about it, I was like, that's it. This is the story of a boy. His name is Joaquin, who ends up, in a brand new country, doesn't know the language, doesn't really fit in. So he creates this imaginary friend named Pana, and that is the shameless plug. And so that's kind of like the story and the adventure that they're going to go through together. And so I was like, okay, cool. And I started developing it. It turned out to be a graphic novel. It's not like issue by issue. It's
Yeah.
a graphic novel. It's 140 pages. The Kickstarter, which we're going to talk about it in a few minutes, it's actually the Kickstarter is for the first chapter, which is
Okay.
40 pages. It's the first chapter is 40 pages, but that gives you kind of like the world. It puts you into you meet some of the characters and things of that nature. But while that is happening, and that's what the Kickstarter is for, I'm still working on the book itself, like the 140 page graphic
Yeah.
novel. It's written, it's ready to go. Joseph Olesko again is teaming up with me to do this, and so we've been working on it. But I was like, you know what? Let me start off with the first chapter. Let me just give people a taste for what it is, and so that's where we're at.
That's like again, that's a smart move again because it would get them hooked as immediately at their 44 pages of the first chapter.
40 pages.
40 pages. Yeah.
Yeah,
You'll get them hooked immediately and say, you know what? Well, I need to know how this ends. I need to know what's going to happen
yeah,
next to this
yeah,
kid.
yeah.
Yeah. Now, I eventually, you did send me the 8 pages sample, so I've already seen it. As I was reading it, I was like, I think he put some essence of his life into this character.
Yeah.
So I'm very pleased that I was correct about that, and it fits because I think every writer puts some part of their essence into their characters, whether it's characteristics or just certain aspects, hobbies, certain things.
Yeah, yeah. I think that I didn't want to. I didn't want to make him me because there are things that the character does that I wouldn't do or that I didn't
Yeah,
do back when I was a kid. But I did want to kind of inject some of what I went through at that age, because I think kids probably still go through it. I think as much as we've changed, I think obviously society changes, generations change, but I think at the essence, we're all afraid, right? I think we all have fears, and I think that we all want to fit in a certain way. Maybe we won't say it, and maybe we're very, very like, I don't care, I'm me, I'm who I am. But at the core, I think that we do want to find I use the word tribe, but I think we do want to find people that think like us and act like us, and I think that's important for kids, as they're growing up to do that. And I think that I use the imaginary friend because obviously when we're writing, we're doing research, and I found that a lot of kids create these imaginary friends to help them cope with certain things, whether it's fears and things like that. So that's kind of like where I went with it. Hey, what's up,
yeah.
Rosie?
Hey,
um
you know,
so yeah, so I thought it was important to kind of like inject some of that in there.
well, it is important again because again, it makes the character relatable because
Right.
any kid can identify with this. Being in a new neighborhood, new country, as you said, being
Hmm.
completely lost, and yeah, you do need to try to find your own tribe. People
Yeah.
that you could connect to. You know, but yeah, it was very important to do that, and I just like the start of it. I just like the
Thank
start of
you.
it, and I can already tell it's going to be a great coming of age story.
Yes, yes. No, I appreciate it. As a writer, and you create books, I think I still get nervous about sending stuff to people to kind of read. And it's kind of silly because that's what we do this, right? But
Exactly.
I still kind of like, oh man, I hope they like it. We all, we I still feel that. And hearing you say that, man, I really appreciate that because it helps me kind of like, okay, okay, cool. This is good then. This is good. It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right.
How you doing,
Oh,
man?
that's
How you
right.
doing?
Rap, what's up, brother? I was like, Rosie, okay. Raphael's a great dude, man. He's a cool, cool
I
dude.
know. He's interviewed me a couple of times.
Oh, he's
We're on
amazing.
location, so yeah. I have yet to be on his show, but I've at some point going to be on his show.
Yeah, 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 yeah. You should, man. He's a great dude.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, but again, it's definitely appropriate to show these type of storylines and characters. Especially when especially when your target is mostly children. You know, they should experience stuff like this.
Mhm.
Just to say that they're not alone.
Right, right. Yeah. Yeah. I actually tomorrow I'm going to be at a comic book convention. I live in Yonkers. It's a local convention. It's at the Yonkers Public Library,
Yeah.
and so we'll be there tomorrow. So if you guys are in Yonkers, come by. It's going to be at the Yonkers Public Library down by the riverfront, and we'll be there. It's a 1 day show, but I bring that up because I had a conversation with the library
Yeah.
about donating some copies of this book to the library, and
Ooh.
they're very open, obviously, to having this stuff there. And it's actually one of the tiers on the campaign that's going to launch October 7th. Is that you can pledge to the campaign, and you get two books. So the two books you're getting are basically the two covers. One cover is the main cover, and the other cover is a cover by a gentleman named Chris Madd. I mean, you can see that on the pre-launch page. But you get both of those covers, and 5 books go to the library. So I'm donating 5 books to the library for every time somebody pledges to that tier. You get 2 books, and the library gets 5, because I think it's important for that kind of stuff to make itself into libraries for kids to
Yeah.
kind of like see, hey, you know what, these people who create these books do exist. Like, they're not just big corporations that create these books that you'll never meet. There's actually real people behind some of these indie books that are being created. I think it's important for kids to see that, because then it empowers them to say, oh, I have a story I want to tell. I can do that too. You know what I mean? So I think that's important.
It is important because we're pretty much responsible, obviously, for the next generation of storytellers, but
Yeah.
we have to engage them. We have to inspire them. So yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
creating stories like that would definitely inspire them. Saying, I do have a story that I want to tell. I wanted to tell it since I was a kid.
Hmm.
So why don't we just do that? So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
That's what you
true.
do.
That's
Oh,
very true.
yeah. Thanks, Rap. Yeah. I mean, you'd be surprised how available and willing to take some of these books in libraries are. Like, I think libraries are very, as long as, like I said, as long as it's like it's appropriate for the kids. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that they are more than willing to do that, and to have some of that stuff on their shelves and in their libraries. Now, I guess it depends on the library itself, but I think most of them do, I think.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say so. I don't think
Yeah,
I've ever seen a problem with libraries having a problem with these type of stories
correct,
for the
correct.
kids. All
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
but again, you never know.
yeah. No, definitely ask. Definitely, you try to reach out to the right people, and see what they tell you. But yeah, no, I think it's a. I decided, I was like, you know what? Let me take a shot. Let me see if they're interested, and they were. So big shout out to the Yonkers Public Library for allowing me to do
Yeah, that folks, you
that.
definitely should go to the libraries a bit more.
Yeah,
You never know what you're missing.
you
Never
never
know.
know. Never know, man.
Okay, so why don't we show them a quick peek at the Wonder Duck, and then
Sure.
we'll go to the pre-launch page.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Okay.
Ralph says he loves library cons. I do too, man. I didn't know. Last year I went to it for the first time, and it was awesome. Yeah,
Well, it's a more relaxed feeling, I think,
yes,
than
yeah. I agree. I agree. Ralph, you love this guy, man.
I know. I mean, look at this, folks. Look at this.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, huge shout out to the guys over there. Joseph did an amazing job with this, and you know, it's one of those things. Like, Ian, do you draw and write? Right? Do you do both?
I do. I
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
So I'm a writer, right? So like when I send my script out to the artist, I don't know what I'm gonna get, but when I do get pages from the artist, dude, it's like Christmas morning, dude. Like, just seeing what you wrote now being, on a page, it's an incredible feeling. It's an incredible feeling. Anybody, I think, or any writer who's done it, I think, feels the same way, especially when they get books back and they're like, holy cow, that's sometimes it's like that. Not even what I was thinking, but that's a lot cooler than what I was thinking. You know what I mean? Like, that looks
Well,
cool.
yeah. Well, that's the thing with the artists. They interpret what the writers are saying, and as long as they're still on the same minus the pun,
Right.
same page,
Yeah.
then I
Yeah.
think it'll be fine. In fact, I
Absolutely.
had experience sending one of my scripts to another artist. You know, what I do is I don't get very detailed in the descriptions because I'm like, let me see what you're interpreting
True.
this, and
I
like,
agree.
okay, there you go.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
sometimes I'm just blown away. It's like I didn't even think of it this way.
Yeah. When you're writing, do you, man? I want to get my
I
Saturday
love
mornings.
it. Yeah.
When you're writing, Ian, or like when you write these scripts, like you say you don't really go into detail as far as like what like angles and stuff like that. You kind of just do descriptions. Is that how you do it?
And sometimes I will do angles, yeah. Sometimes I will do
Okay.
descriptions,
Okay.
especially with if I'm not drawing it.
Yeah.
Then I would say I would describe as the scene as much as possible, or whatever angles, but I don't go too much into it because
I got you.
again, I want to make sure
Yeah.
the artist
No,
does
you're
it.
right.
But when I
Absolutely.
write my own scripts that I know I'm going to illustrate, what I do is I just have a pad next to me, so okay, I know exactly what the shots are going to look like. I know how
Right.
the action is going to do, so I don't need to go. I don't need to describe.
Yeah.
I
No.
just
No.
need
I
to know
got you.
exactly where, how many panels are in, and where it goes where. So yeah.
Yeah. No. No. That makes sense. I agree. The only time I get deep is if something's seen, but I leave alone. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No. I agree, man. I like to let them kind of do their thing. Yeah, because then you get stuff like this. Like none of these. Like I told them what I wanted and what was going on and the back and forth that they were having. But like this panel at the bottom when he's just coming out of nowhere, like that wasn't written that way. He kind of
Yeah.
just decided to do that kind of stuff, and that's the kind of stuff that I'm like, okay, cool, that works, and let's do that.
It's also it heightens the drama a bit, especially the dramatic angles.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, and they, there's Duke Dolby, that is the Mr. Wonder Duck outside of his uniform, and this is what I was telling you guys about. He's contemplating life,
Oh man.
and then this thing's just coming out of nowhere and just bang, just hits him in the back of the head. There he is, Wonder Duck.
Oh man. This is just it's phenomenal. It really is
Thank you.
phenomenal, folks. So you gotta get it. You gotta get this comic. You gotta copy it.
Yeah, it's going to be. We were talking about this. It will be in stores October 15th. The first issue comes out October 15th. It's being distributed through Filbo Distribution. I want to give him a big shout out because he took a chance on this book and said, "Yo, dude, you want to distribute it through me?" I was like, "Hell yeah, man, why not?" And stores picked it up. I'm actually doing a book signing in Long Island at LI comic book shop in Long Island. So come see me. It is October 15th. I'll be there all day from opening to close. So I'll be there signing the first issue of the book. The second issue is already it's being solicited, and so is the third. So I mean, the book is out. The book is finished. All 8 issues are done. So they are going to be coming out on a monthly schedule for the next 8 months. So definitely, hit up your local comic book shop and tell them, listen, I want the Adventures of Wonder Duck. How do I get it? And they'll be able to grab it. You can go to my website and I have all the links there as well.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, this is great. This is fantastic.
Thanks. Yeah, I definitely wanted them to do that. Make it feel like a cartoon. And the funny thing about the star on his chest, originally I didn't have that little circle in the center. It was just blank, and it was looking too much like Captain Marvel. And I was like, before
Yeah.
Disney kind of sends me a cease and
Oh.
desist letter, let me change that. A lot of the older books that are out there, because there is a graphic novel, has that. So if you guys find that, that's like a collector's item, because they'll never be printed like that again.
Wow. Yeah, the style is just is sick. It's very reminiscent, obviously, of the MSUs we were talking about, and yeah, it's just cool. It's just cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, I got to give him a lot of credit. I got to give Joseph a lot of credit because he really took this on and was like made it look really, really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is Wonder Duck.
Yep. That is the first issue of the book. So yeah, definitely check it out.
Yeah, they definitely should because again, they don't. you don't want to waste this opportunity, folks, to get this comic because it's just fantastic.
Thanks, man. Yeah, buying indie comics is ultimate collecting because you have so into the journey. There really is, man. There really is. Like I have got a lot of conversations with like my indie friends, and like as because as we're creating, we're learning, right? And we're learning from each other, and like so many pages from our indie books probably never see the light of day because we make so many changes before it actually hits the stores or before it hits the conventions or whatever. There's so much
Yeah,
on the cutting room floor that we don't have a place to share it until maybe you do a Kickstarter or something like that and you put like extra features in it or something. But there's so many stories, yeah, behind some of these books.
yeah. Also, just you also get to see how much the style has changed as well, because it could be like a year or two in between issues. You're like, wow, the style's gotten better. The
Yeah,
art
dude.
style, the storytelling's gotten better. It's solid.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure you
look
see
for
that a
that.
lot, right, Ian? Like in
Yeah,
your art, right? Your art has changed from the years, right? Yeah.
it's from so many influences in my life. You know, my desire to be bigger and better than the last issue. That's the
Mm-hmm.
first thing. But I also see other artists, not really holding back. There was a time where I was holding back,
Oh yeah.
certain things because it was like I wasn't sure, my style would mix it. At some point, I was like, you know what? Who cares if it isn't mixed with other stuff? So
Right.
let me just do what I want to do, and also just see what else I could pick up. See if I can change. And so far, it's changed. If you buy issue one of Conan Hunter, you'll see the huge difference between that to now.
Right, right. Wow, that's amazing, man. Yeah. You ever thought about going back and like redoing some of that stuff? Or you're like, nah,
Oh,
that's
oh yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
I'm definitely gonna do it because there are some things that George, you have no idea. There were some things I was like, what was I thinking?
Right.
You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was a fresh kid out of college, when I did the issue one,
Yeah.
and it was my last comic on, with ink and paper.
Yeah. Yeah. Damn, man. That's interesting, dude.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah. There
that.
you go. There you go.
But yeah, ever since I went to digital, I broadened my horizon. I changed my techniques a little bit,
Yeah.
but I also wanted to get bigger and better. I wanted to be get better. I'm continuing to getting better. I'm getting
Yeah.
better. I'm getting better.
Yeah. I feel like digital, I mean, obviously changed the game when it came to like creating comics. And I say that because even like in working with Joseph, he'll send me a page, right? And I'll say, Dan, Joseph, this looks great. Can we just do this to this, add this or maybe take that off? Dude, it's back in seconds because it's digital, right? So no longer does he have to be like, oh God, I gotta erase this thing and get a new piece of paper. No, he's like, no problem. It's boom, does what he has to do, sends it back. Is this better? I'm like, dude, that's perfect. You know what I mean? Like, and
Yeah.
we can move on. Whereas back in the day, dude, it would have been like, you should. That's why thumbnails were so important back in the
Oh
days,
yeah.
right? You
Yeah.
needed that thumbnail, I'm not saying they're not important now. I don't draw like that, but now you can make those changes real time in the digital, like this is on the layer or whatever it is, and you could just move on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing with the thumbnails, which are pretty much the roughs anyway. You
That's right.
know, what you're able to do is get scanned to the computer and you just change simple things here and there, and you're like, okay, now let me just get translate to the line art, and
Right.
that's it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
but back in those days in the '90s, when they were still trying to figure this out, yeah, you still have to do it the old-fashioned way. And
Sure.
when an editor says, you know what, I'm not sure if this looks right, the
Mm-hmm.
arm doesn't look
Mm-hmm.
accurate. I'm not really feeling that that punch there. So could you
Right.
just change it a little bit? And there's like, oh god, oh god, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Now I gotta
Yeah.
spend 7 hours to redraw this thing.
Right.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep. Yeah. Now with the digital, man, it's different. It's a whole different ballgame now.
oh yeah, because again, like you said, fix it in seconds, no problem.
Done. Done.
It also helps to also expand your roughs as well,
Mm.
because you may think of it a different way, saying, what if I flip it this way?
Right.
You know,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
so,
And now you have both versions. So if you even want to go back to the way it was, I don't really like it. You have it there. Whether
yeah,
it's on on a
On
different
separate
layer or
layers.
whatever. It's hiding somewhere. Yeah. It's kind of amazing, man. It's a big time game changer. Forget it.
Oh, it
Yeah,
is. I
yeah.
can't even imagine, what the creators back in the 90s must think, about now.
Right.
Because obviously it's helped them immensely when the ones that are still in the business. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah.
Okay, so why don't we go to Shameless Plug?
Let's
Now,
do it.
remember, folks, this is the pre launch page. All right.
Yes. So the pre-launch page, and I was talking to you about this because I have a little something special for people watching the show. I like to do this when I come on shows. So I have a print, and this is the page. I'll let you scroll through it, and I'll tell them about it after.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
these are some of the preview pages of the preview of the book before it's even lettered here. These are some of
Wow.
the pages that again Joseph did, and
Yeah.
this book, man, this is the first time that I worked uh, that I worked with a bigger team
Yeah.
of people, in the sense that I had an editor. I had, obviously Joseph, who's the artist on the interior art, and he did everything. He did the pencils, inks, and colors on here. So that's all him. It is all him. But before he even got to here, I was working with, a couple of artists, designing the characters and designing the look of the characters. So, I wanted to give a big shout out to them. And you're going to see here, this is the main cover. So this is the main cover of the book that, remember I was telling you guys about that tier for the library. So this is one of the covers that you will get when you pledge to that tier. So this is the main cover, is cover A. And then Chris Mad, who's another team member that I worked with, Chris and Shauna Mad, they did this cover. And so you're going to get both of these covers for under that tier, and then 5 books go to the library. But yeah, no, Chris and Shauna, man, they did a tremendous job just making this kind of like using their own style and making it their own. And I love the way it came out.
It's got a Back to the Future vibe. It really
Right?
does.
Yeah,
Yeah. It looks sick. I love both covers. I really do.
yeah.
Man.
The
Okay,
first
so
one
this is the
tells
team.
more of the story, and then yeah,
Yeah.
this is the team. This is the team. And see Back to the Future, like a big fan of Back to the Future that I am. And that's Joseph, my editor, L.A. Cunningham, Joe Holly, and Claudia, Victor Claudio. Joe did the design of the character after I sketched it out. He went in there and cleaned it up to make it look more like what you're seeing now. And then
Wow.
Victor did the colors on top of Joe's art. And then C. Michael Lanning, he did the character designs for the kids, for all the other characters in the book, which I drew, I sketched out, and then I sent it over to him to clean them up and say, make these look good so that they make sense, because my chicken scratch is not working. So he did a tremendous job with that, and those are the things that were sent out to Joseph, and then he kind of hooked it up and did his thing. And then there's Chris there at the bottom, and Shauna, who did the
Wow.
variant cover that you saw, that you called it the Back to the Future cover. So yeah, maybe that's why I like it so much. It's about the
Yeah.
sparks on the floor, right?
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
say that, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? You're right. That is.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
there's some links there if you guys want to follow the guys on the show. But yeah, definitely hit that notify me button. And so for those who hit that notify, okay, so let me tell you a little bit about this thing here. And I don't know if you want to just
Let me just get
yeah.
this.
All right. So this print here was done by a gentleman named Hector Rodriguez. He said, "Yo, George, I'll do a print for Wonder Duck." And this was the print. There's a big battle that Wonder Duck has with this big ape in one of the issues, and he gets his butt kicked. So he did this. So what I'm doing is I'm offering this print. So anybody who is watching the show can get this print doing these 4 simple things. Number 1, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, like it. Make sure the algorithm brings this channel and this episode up. So make sure you do that. Number 2, hit the notify me button on the campaign. So hit that notify me button. Number 3, hit me up. Go to Get Your Meds on Instagram. Let me know, hey, George, I'm following the page. That way I'll know that you're following the page. And number 4, pledge to the campaign. When you pledge to any physical tier, you're going to get this. And it's a nice thick,
Yeah.
print. So you're going to get this print with your pledge. So make sure you do that. I'm going to offer that to anybody who's watching this show. So thank you guys for watching, actually.
That's a great, very great quality, print there. That's very good.
Yeah, dude. He killed it, man. He killed it, dude. Like that
Yeah.
the colors, the vibrancy. Yeah, he's you guys should follow him, Hector Rodriguez, man. He's an incredible artist.
Yeah. I might follow him myself.
Yeah. He's on Instagram, Facebook, and all that other stuff, dude. You'll find him. He's a good guy.
I had no problem. I think I'll find.
You'll find him. You'll find him. Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, that's fantastic. But yeah, folks, the link, if you didn't see the description, it's also been scrolling down this whole time.
There it is. Yes.
Yeah, so I would definitely follow it. I'm gonna follow it myself. To get a notification, obviously, just to make sure this gets noticed. Obviously, get noticed, but
appreciate you. Yeah. No. Oh, hey, listen, we need all the help we can get, man, because these things get buried. You know how it is. It gets buried in the algorithms, and I'll have like a friend, or I'll see friends on Facebook who will say, "Hey, pledge to my campaign. One day left." I go to look for the campaign. That thing's been done for 5 days, and I'm like, "Wait, I'm just getting this now." Like it happens all the time to me.
Yeah. Do it. What he said.
What he said.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I would definitely not miss this opportunity, folks. And the campaign actually officially starts on October 22nd, right?
No, October 7th.
Right?
October 7th, yeah.
October 7th. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, in a couple of weeks, I will be doing a full, launch on Catch the Craze, which is the podcast that I do with my buddy Sam, which I told you, and you're more than welcome to come whenever you want. I send you that calendar. Book yourself on there. And so, it'll be October 7th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going live. We're going to launch. The other thing I'm doing for the campaign is I'm doing backer goals. So every 10 backers. Okay, so let me tell you this. So a few years ago, when I did my campaign for Wonder Duck, I had remember golden ticket. Remember Willy Wonka and the golden ticket, right?
Yeah.
So I did golden tickets, and basically what they are is, at the time I did every 25 backers, we would unlock this golden ticket. Now the golden ticket was going to be raffled off to a lucky backer. And that backer would get that in their package when they got delivered. And it gave you the chance to see me at whatever show I was, and I would give you a free graphic novel just for having that golden ticket. I'm doing that again, but this time, instead of every 25, I'm doing every 10. So every 10 backers, somebody's going to have a chance to win this golden ticket. And this time around, when the campaign ends, obviously, and I'll send you this golden ticket, see me at any show that I will be next year, and I will give you a free copy of the full 140-page graphic novel. So you'll get the full graphic novel for free. So definitely pledge to the campaign. Get as many people as you possibly can, because every 10 I'm going to be giving these away. So it'll be a chance for anybody to just get one of these free graphic novels. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah,
absolutely. Yes, you need Shameless Plug in your life. You need it. But George, I can't thank you for coming on here talking to us about your projects. I'm very excited for you.
Appreciate it.
I will definitely try to make it to the October 15th signing.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Definitely try to make it. If I can't, don't worry. You and I are going to meet down the line, obviously, at one of these conventions. So, yeah, very excited.
Yeah. And also, one more thing. I'm going to be at the New York Comic Con.
Get out of here.
Yeah, the 8th, 9th, 10th, or whatever, the weekend of New York Comic Con. So I will be at the Comic Con. I will have a booth there. So if you guys want to come check out some of the stuff that I have at the booth, I have some books there. So come check me out. And I actually have a convention version of Wonder Duck at the show. So the first issue, I do have it printed out. It's not the retail version. The retail version is specifically for the retail stores, but I do have a first issue convention edition book that you guys can pick up. And that has the star without the circle in the middle. So that actually has those books that I'm never going to be able to print those again. But so come check me out. I will be at the Comic Con the weekend. I guess it's the 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th.
Well, I'm gonna be there as a guest. Well, not as a
Oh,
guest, but
dude.
as a obviously a Patreon. But I'm gonna go find your table. I'm gonna come find you, and
No,
then
dude.
we're just gonna talk
Yes.
for a few minutes. Yeah,
Come by,
that's
man. Yeah,
fantastic.
it's going to be 2040, and I think they always put it underneath the 2000 banner. So if you look up and you look at those banners, it's 2000. I would be 2040. I'll be there. Oh, awesome. Yeah, Raph, I'll see you over there, man. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we'll be there.
Okay.
It'll be fun. It'll be a good time. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, Ian. All right, awesome, man. That's
Yeah.
cool. There you
Yeah.
go. There you go.
Oh, now you're saying, oh, I can get Ian too.
There you
Well,
go.
I'm not a guest man, but I appreciate it. I'm gonna be there just as a fan, because it's hard to get into those New York Comic. I've been trying for like a couple of
Yeah.
years now.
Yeah, no, it's. I'm doing it. I'm actually sharing a table with Johnny C, who's an incredible writer as well. So Johnny C and I, we share a table. That's because those things are freaking. They're a fortune.
I
They're
know. I
freaking
couldn't
fortune.
believe how much it
Yeah,
is. I was like, oh
it's
my
insane.
god.
It's insane. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, no, we'll be there, and it'll be fun. And it's crazy. I feel like I almost forgot. So that on Wednesday the 8th, again, Long Island, I will be at the East Meadow Public Library.
Okay.
I will be there doing a show, doing one of these with Mark Torres. It came from the radio. I will be there with
Oh,
him. Yeah, well, so if you guys are in that area, East Meadow Public Library, I will be there on Wednesday, the 8th at 7 p.m. I'll be there. After I set up my table at the Comic Con, I'm going to drive out to Long Island and do that. So yeah, it's going to be a busy month, man. It's going to be a busy month of and you've done Kickstarters, Ian, so you know how stressful those 30 days are, dude.
oh man. I remember the first two I did, with other creators. That was
Oh,
always part of the anthology series. I was like, oh god, it's like the stock market, it goes up, it goes up, then it goes
yeah.
down, 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 and all
Dude,
of a sudden I'm going, oh my god,
I
I'm
know.
losing money. No, I'm losing comics. No, I'm losing money. I'm losing comics. I'm losing money. Ah!
I know. It's nuts, bro. It's nuts. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting October. Looking forward to
Yeah,
November where it's all quieted down. But then November, the fun starts, right? Because I have to start fulfilling all these things and mailing all these things out, making sure they get there. So it's gonna be a fun couple of months, man. But this is what we do it, right? This is why we do it. So
exactly.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, folks. Before we actually end this evening, I'd like to plug in my own stuff, my
Yeah.
own shameless plug. That's gotta be that. Yeah, that's gotta stay with me for a while.
Telling
It's
you,
gonna stay with
it,
me for a while.
it makes so much sense. The
It
shameless
does.
plug.
It really does. It really does. Okay, so as many of you know, I have my own storefront on tpublic.com. Yeah, so this is my storefront. I have to actually put an image here so people actually, have something else to look at besides this little Ian thing. But if you type in little Ian merch in the search engine on tpublic.com, you can find my storefront with some of my Conan Hunter merch, as well as my little Ian, my own comic character, which is a fictionalized version of myself as a detective.
There you go. You put some of yourself into your story. That's awesome, dude.
Exactly. So I know we're still September, but Halloween is obviously right around the corner. So you can get this
Oh, that's
particular
cool.
design in t-shirts, coffee mugs, baseball caps,
Nice.
even nice decorative pillows, wall art, even phone cases.
Oh man, cool.
Yeah. But for some odd reason, I don't know if it's because of people are Jaws fans. This one's still the highest selling one.
Wow. Yeah, it's cool though. That's very
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. He is in a color, obviously in a size. So yeah, definitely check it out. Just type in Lola Ian merch at tpublic.com.
Sweet.
Yep. And of course, here's my first issue of Conan Hunter, available on indieplanet.com. And here are some of the preview pages.
Nice. Oh, cool, dude.
And also available is issues 2 and 3. Currently working on issue 5 right now. Issue 4 is being inked as we speak. Very excited about that. Hopefully, it can be done with by the early November. So we'll definitely let you know about the Kickstarter. I heard you said we're going to start this month, but again, want to make sure that you get the full experience. And I figured that was more important. So yeah,
Yeah.
keep an eye out for some notifications about that. George, I can't thank you enough for coming on here. It's been great
Thank
having
you, man.
you. Hope to have you back very soon.
For sure, man. Whenever, man. This is awesome, dude. This is awesome. And again, I can't wait to talk to you about your stuff on the other side on our show, man. Because that'll be cool, man. Especially when you have more, like, obviously if you have the fifth issue coming out, like, later on this year, whatever, we can definitely do that, man. That'll be fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, definitely. You're gonna be one of my
Yeah,
first calls, man. You're gonna be one of my first calls.
yeah,
So don't
yeah.
worry about
I'm actually going to be on Rav's show in October as well. So yeah, I'm gonna be doing my rounds, man. I'm gonna be doing my rounds. You know how it is. Once the Kickstarter is up, you know.
that. Oh yeah, that's when the fun really begins.
That's when it really begins. Exactly right. Exactly right. But no, but thank you, man, for having me on here, dude. I really appreciate you. I reached out to you and you were gracious enough to say, dude, come on whenever you want. And here
Yeah,
we are. So thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, October 13th. That's right.
exactly.
Yeah, so thank you, dude. I really, really appreciate you. Ian. Really appreciate it. I can't
Uh,
wait to meet you, man. I can't wait to
Can't wait
meet
to
you.
meet you either.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll take a selfie. We'll take a pic.
absolutely. All right, guys. I think that's gonna be it for us tonight. I'm Ian Miller, and this has been Triple Threat Comics YouTube channel. Have a good night.
Peace.